Welcome to Beyond the Mindset Model. So I do want this to be interactive because I want to see where all of you are now as far as mindset. Where are you coming from and what is your experience with mindset? Are you a coach? Are you in coach training now? Have you been a coach for a while and you are maybe running into snags with your clients and mindset is not enough? Any of those, just let me know in the chat so I can see who I'm speaking to and what the issue is before breaking out the slide. So I am going to share some concepts with you, and I'm going to go through my personal experience with mindset and the model, and also how I became a mind-body coach. Does that sound fair to everyone? Are we just like a quiet crowd today? Maybe it's because it's nap time. All right. I don't want to kill time making a big deal out of it. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. All right. So I did this last year because there were a lot of new coaches who were frustrated with like getting their practice going because they felt, I was just certified. So I'm in the beginning of my coaching journey, already seeing that the model is a little limited and I'm feeling quiet today. That's fine. You guys can feel quiet. Sounds awesome. And there is a chat. Okay. Let me just take you through this. It's not going to be very long, but then we're going to open it up to Q&A. And a lot of you do not know who I am. So I'm going to let you know who I am. So I am Kim Gilry. I'm an integrative mind-body coach. I realize that's a word that I probably shouldn't use in the coaching business, but it's what I am. And a business mentor. I am the founder of the Advanced Mind-Body Coach Training. Okay, I certified in July and I'm feeling a little lost with what to do next. Perfect, you're in the right place. I promise you. Have any of you been to the practice and feedback sessions that I have been doing on Monday afternoon for new coaches in LCS? Just let me know if you have been to any of those calls so I can filter the conversation. I've been to one. Perfect. Did it make sense? I have not. All right. No, I haven't. Okay. So let me tell you what to expect and why I created this approach. I was already a certified health coach. I was a massage therapist. I was doing some hypnotherapy, energy work. I was a massage, meditation, and yoga teacher. I have been in business since 1997, serving the general public, and I had gone on my own self-healing journey. So by the time I came across the model and Brooke, I had already been doing a lot of this work. So I'm curious about you guys who are here. What were you doing before coach certification, or was that your first contact with mindset? So I started going to Dallas about when Brooke first moved to Dallas. She was offering something called Model-thons. Self-coach scholars had just started. I joined the first month. I was a 5-time diamond by the time I left. And the reason I stayed in was because of these Model-thons. So we were going to Dallas every quarter and she would just coach. And so anyone in the room could get coaching. Some of those things, we had 25, 30 people in the room. So it was fabulous. I spent a lot of time there. I realized the new coaches don't have that. And I ran something. I loved the Model-thons. I'm a 5-diamond person. LCS was my first experience with mindset. Came through Corinne's funnel. Okay, perfect. So I went to every single Model-thon and then I became a certified coach. And I really battled with myself because I was like, do I really need this? I was already 5 times certified, but I loved the audience. I loved the people that Brooke attracts. But I was more in the holistic, not spiritual realm, but really the whole body and soul kind of realm. And the model was really just for mindset. So I felt a little out of place for a while. And then I ended up creating my own technique. My clients were so successful that they asked if I would teach them how to do this for them to help their family and friends and maybe to do it as a business. So there may be a couple of you here. Let me see, look and see who's here, that are actually have been through my coach training or are currently in coach training. Like Mallory is my assistant. She's my full timer. She's my right hand. She was a physical therapist And she started doing coaching with me. And then she invested in the coach training for herself. She left PT and she is now, oh, I think I just lost an earring. And she wanted to use this like with her family, but also with herself. And she wanted a career change. So Mallory can speak to that in here. It's life-changing when you really understand the way that your brain works. There is so much going on here, like the most powerful organ in our body, and we don't know what to do with it. And I think that's the issue. So mindset is one part of the equation. I'm going to take you through the whole thing today, and I'm going to try my best not to overwhelm you. So I'm going to go really slow. I'm going to ask questions, and we're going to chat about it before moving forward. Does that sound fair? I've done a lot of personal development, trained with another school. I was already perfect. I love that, Bonnie. That's where I was. I really loved the community, and we were doing things like 4 to 6 times a year. I was going to mastermind. I did the coach training live. So I just loved being around personal development people. Okay. So there was a problem with mindset alone. And that is why I came up with this integrative approach. I recognized what was missing through my own personal healing transformation. And when I felt, I'll use the word limited by the model, I got really frustrated because I wasn't fully in autonomy, like with my own authority. And because I saw people who were making millions of dollars, I assumed they were right and I was wrong. Can any of you relate to that? Like I was already doing work 24 years now, Louise Hay's work, You Can Heal Your Body. You can heal your body with your mind. And then when I get into the mindset world, they were like, that's bullshit. That's not true. Forget that you ever heard that. And I'm like, wait a minute. No, it was very true with my own healing journey. So I felt like a part of me had to die in order for me to just adopt the model. And that didn't feel right. So I stepped away. And I just kind of created my own little world, my own community with people who understood the holistic approach, the mind, the body, the soul, the experience we're here to have on planet Earth. Does that sound familiar to any of you? So the advanced use of the mindset model, that's what I'm going to show you today. I'm going to show you how to use it in several different ways. We might not have time to break it all down, but I'm going to offer you opportunity to be able to do that. And then what is the solution to self-healing? So we have the solution to seeing our thoughts and to have the awareness of our thoughts, but what's the actual solution to see and be aware of the thoughts and then actually get the transformation that is long lasting? Thank you, Allison. I love our community too. So another thing I'm going to answer is why you keep chasing thoughts. Do any of you, when you're coaching your client on the model, they just freaking like thought swap on you. And you're like, darn it, I thought I had the thought. Like I had the thought. And then it went away. And now it's another thought. Does that happen to any of you? I thought it's like thought chasing, thought swapping. Yes. Whenever I was doing the practice coach sessions, I was like, there it is. There it is. And she was like, that one's better than the first one. Yeah, this was a killer for me too. And I really got annoyed because when I would go to the self-coach scholar calls and I was getting coaching, they would say, that's a thought. And I was like, I know because I told you that's what I was thinking. And then it would cut off it there. And I was so frustrated. It was like an orgasm that never finishes. I was like, I cannot get to the other side of this. And so I get frustrated. My podcast is called More Than Mindset. And only because Pavel said it might be a bad idea, it's not called More Than the Model, because that's what I was really thinking. I say, so why do we have resistant clients and understanding unresolved trauma and how it shows up in the body? Do any of you want to know about that? And the last thing is I'm going to offer to help you master your coaching, just like I have been doing on the Mondays. All right. So I work with healing-focused entrepreneurs. I help them integrate coaching in their practice. And a lot of people say, what does that mean? I've been training coaches, massage therapists, psychotherapists, pharmacists, holistic practitioners, hypnotherapists, energy healers, yoga, and meditation teachers. I know that is a huge array, and it sounds like it's not a niche, but it is a niche. Mallory herself is a physical therapist, and she is one of my clients. And it is because they already have the understanding and the desire to help someone else heal their body. A pharmacist got into pharmacy to help people have a better life. A psychotherapist got into psychotherapy to help people improve their life. The problem is they don't have these pieces, these missing pieces. I'm going to talk about them today. So the issue with the energy healers, the yoga meditation teachers and hypnotherapists is they don't have mindset. So once I realized like, okay, these people need this and these people need this, and we're going to integrate it and we're going to build the bridge so that we can help all people. Does that make sense? Does that sound fair? Let me just tell you what a healing focused entrepreneur is and move on, because this has been a question I get every single interview and podcast or whatever I do. I have to answer this question. So I'm just going to tell you, and you can self-select here. This may or may not be you. It's an individual who combines their entrepreneurial endeavor. In other words, they want to bring something new to the world. And there is a strong emphasis on holistic well-being, mind, body, soul, personal growth, and helping others achieve healing and transformation. This type of entrepreneur integrates principles of emotional, mental, and even physical healing into their practice. The goal is to create a business that not only generates financial success, but also contributes positively to the well-being of clients, customers, and the large community. Are you a healing-focused entrepreneur? Some of you might be just a mindset coach, and that's fine. But the person that I specialize and work with, they have the intention to serve and help heal the planet, one person at a time, including themselves. So I am very clear about who that person is. And by the way, I am a massage therapist. I am a hypnotherapist. I was a hairdresser. I've been doing life coaching behind the chair since 1997. I did manicures and pedicures. I've had multiple locations and I've helped people build their businesses. So I do have a little bit of this that's very personal to me. So let me ask you a question. Have you used mindset and not gotten the results you want for yourself or your clients? Just let me know in the chat. Have you used mindset, helping them see their thoughts, and you still don't have the results you want, and your clients maybe are frustrated, and you're frustrated because your clients are not getting the results? Okay. Do you want to know why? Sometimes. Yeah, sometimes it's great. You don't need more. So here's the mindset model, CTFAR. Now, I learned this from Louise Hay. I actually did not learn this from Brooke Castillo. Yeah, I want to know more. So when Brooke uses this, and this is who I'm speaking to LCS coaches mostly, so I want to refer to what you have been trained in. So C is for circumstance, T is for thought, F is for feeling, A is for action, and R is for result, right? Y'all, I use this all the time. I use it for a foundation. I use it in my coaching membership. I use it with my clients. I think it is so important to understand. But the way that I use the mind-body coaching and the integration is there's a step in between the T and the F, and there's a step in between the F and the A. And I manipulate this thing. So I use the think, feel, act. So the kind of the TFA, because it's easier for my clients. This is great for a coach. But when you're coaching clients, I would not use this personally. I use it for coaches and practitioners, not for everyday clients. So how many of you you're sitting in this LCS community and everyone knows the model, and then when you go out into the world and you serve people, they don't know the model. They don't have an understanding of the model, and you have to teach them that their thoughts are creating their reality. Any of you here? Or do you all coach coaches and people in LCS? Because this is a big part of it. You're in a community where Brooke has taught it and trained people to think that way. And if you go out into the world and you try to coach that way without them having the exposure and the understanding, it's very confusing. Right. This is why so many of her coaches want to just coach her coaches, because then they don't have to do the work to actually teach the individual. I teach and coach in the role. Class 1, teach the model. Perfect. It's hard concept for non-coaches in my experience. Yep. We're going to go through that. They are confused. So thank you for engaging, by the way. I am a generator in human design and I need responses. I need something to respond to. The model works best for me when I remember that I use it to reveal to me what the clients think and not to show them. Yes, Mary, It's a framework for myself. Yes. And it is something that you embody so that you're not using it like in that order. It's like what I do is I twist it, I send it upside down, I break into it, like I maneuver it. And so that way the client doesn't know where I'm going because they will go into self-preservation if they know where it's going. So that's been my experience. Okay. When mindset falls short, it means there's a disconnection. So because honestly, we can change the world with the model. Would y'all all agree? If everyone understood the concept, we could change the world with just the model. The problem is most people don't understand the concept. So we're speaking two languages. So the language you were taught and then the language that you're helping clients with, or it's two different things. Their perception and understanding and awareness is different from yours. So it's like a doctor going to medical school. He doesn't bring what he learned in medical school to his practice. Can you agree? Does everybody see where I'm going with this? Like as a massage therapist, I don't teach my client anatomy. I don't teach them the names of the techniques that we had to learn in order to pass the test to be certified or licensed. Everybody got that before I move on? We're speaking two different languages. So it really is about simplifying it so that they understand the language that you're speaking. And it's harder for them to come up to meet us. So we've got to go down to their language and we have to interpret it in a way that they can receive it. The last thing is there's a missing link that the model doesn't cover. And I'm going to cover that with you today. Everybody good? We can move on? Yes, yes, no. Do y'all hate when somebody is always asking for you to respond in the chat? All right. So I think we can all agree that thoughts do become things. Yeah. Except for when we don't believe them. So we can walk around saying affirmations like, oh, I made $1 million yesterday. I made $1 million today. I'm making $1 million tomorrow. And it doesn't become the thing, right? Because we don't actually believe it. So we're going to talk about the think, feel, act equals create. So what we think and feel determines what we do. What we do is what creates. So the thing that is not taught is the difference between thoughts and beliefs and how that shows up in your clients. My mind loves to puzzle things together and figure out what my client is not saying. Who here has been coached by me or has done the practice coach sessions and you can see how I do that? It's great questions that lead to them to say something that they weren't saying. It's so fascinating, right? It was a traumatized brain. So I was always bullshitting myself. And I actually learned from my own behavior. You the best. Thank you. All right. Brittany is one of those massage therapists who came through the 10-week advanced coach training and intensive. And now she is in coach training as a massage therapist, integrating how to help her clients heal their body, not just from massage, but understanding what's going on in their brain. I love, love, love this. All right. So we're going to talk about the bridge, the difference between thoughts and beliefs, the difference between conscious and subconscious. How many here work on a subconscious level already? Do you go beyond the model okay, Bonnie, I see a hand up. Anybody else? I think most of you are fairly new, right? So you probably haven't gotten here. Here's what happens. You fall in love with the model, you get coaching, then you fall in love with coaching, then you become a coach and you think you can change the world because your life has been changed, right? That's how most of us got into this. And then you quit getting coaching. So often the coaches quit getting coaching. They're like, oh, I'm a beyond coaching. I already know that. That is a problem, guys. All right. That's one thing that really helped me is I am super humble and transparent. And I will do whatever it takes in order for me to get the help that I need. So if my mind's playing a game with me, I want someone to call it out. I just told Maori an hour ago, I was like, if I need coaching, go ahead and give it to me. Help me see what I'm not seeing. All right. So here is an issue that I have been aware of for the last 1.5 to 2 years, the last 6 months, even more. We've entered a time of overconsumption. And this leads to knowing what to say, but not really understanding it. How many of your clients or they're in resistance and they kind of tell on themselves. Like they're telling you as if they did their own coaching or they already know. They don't want to be called out. So they tell you in advance. Any of you experiencing that? I coach coaches, so it happens all the time. Yeah. That's what's happening. Information has actually become a very low commodity because there's so much of it out there. And so people are consuming with the mind, but they're not really understanding it. And so they're bringing the thought work, just the mental part, to the coach sessions. And so you have to learn how to be really direct, be willing to lose the relationship, and being completely honest with them. That ain't easy to do. So we use it said mindset model and I took it out. So we use mindset ineffectively. And it's just a typical human behavior, no blaming. It's just very natural for us to resist and protect ourselves from experiencing shame. And most of this comes from, how many of you were called out in school or with your parents, or you've kind of been put in a position where someone used your faults or defects against you? Anybody? That's a big part of this is we self-preserve. We don't want anyone else calling us out. So we jeer, justify, excuse, explain, and rationalize. Like, I already know that. And then we go into this big, long story. So if your clients are telling those stories and you're just like, oh my God, can we talk less? That is what's happening. They're justifying, they're excusing, they're explaining. They don't want to be called out. So they're rationalizing it so that they can say, I already know I'm doing it. So they're kind of calling themselves out. You know how someone who's super funny, like a comedian or just the funny person in the group, how they make jokes about themselves so that no one makes jokes about them. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? Kind of use mindset in the same way. Am I losing you? I have a different language. I am self-taught, so my vocabulary is a little different. Everybody good? I can move on? Makes sense. Okay. I'm going to give you opportunity to ask questions. So the reason coaches struggle in what I have seen after training coaches, working with a lot of coaches the past 8 years, 6 years I've been training, 8 years I've been working with a lot of practitioners and coaches. So it's a lack of understanding. So we have the concept, but we don't really understand the concept. I feel like I'm looking at the list and I see Allison and Brittany at the top of the list. So I want to say, does that make sense to you guys? Because y'all are both super smart. You know the work, you understand the work. And then as we're coaching, you begin to understand it on a different level. Can you say that that's true? Give me yes, absolutely. The second thing is you've been given misinformation. So the way that an advanced coach coaches someone, but then doesn't teach how they got there is actually misinformation for your brain. I hear so many people model whipping or model using Brooke's words, but they don't have that understanding that Brooke has. And I recognize it. And you know what? My community is not familiar with LCS. And my team hears the things that Brooke says through the coaches, but they don't really understand when and where to use it. And so it's inappropriately using, and it doesn't make sense. Some of the questions are actually wounding because it brings up the trauma that's in the body. And then the client goes into paralysis, they go into defense, and then they kind of shut down on you. Then they start lying to you. Anybody experience that? It's really hard. Yeah. So it's about knowing, but not knowing. There's different layers of knowing. I'm going to go through all that today. I promise you. I'm trying to do this as fast as possible. All right. I'm going to take you through the actual presentation. So I actually presented this to present at Mastermind last year, but it didn't get accepted, but I still teach it. So this is the whole person. So imagine whole beingness, mental, emotional, so the way that we think, the way we feel, the way we move through the world physically, and then our connection to higher purpose or source. Can you imagine that? This whole being, this person who's healed their past, they've stepped into autonomy or authority, their body is well, their mind is well, they have emotional stability and nervous system regulation. That, for me, that is the goal to attain. And that is where I want to take my clients. I want my clients to outgrow me. I want them to get what they need and then move out into the world and go help other people get the same. That feels like graduation to me. So this came to me, I don't even know, my team made this, but it was a few years ago I started teaching it. And I was like, oh, wait a minute. Like, when we have a mental issue or someone is mentally diagnosed, that goes to like psychiatry, antidepressants. So that's medicated. It's like they have a mental problem. And I've heard very often about like suicide and that being a mental illness. And I'm going to tell y'all that I do not agree. I have a lot, I have a lot to say about that, but that's for another time. So the mental health professionals are the authority of the mental body. So that's where you need to go. They're the ones who have studied it, and they're the ones that treat it. The medical community is taking care of your physical body. So when you have a broken bone, when you have a rash, when you have headaches, you go to the medical community, and they have been trained in how to diagnose and treat. Diagnose and treat. I'm going to say it one more time. Diagnose and treat. Here is a skin thing. Here is a salve. That is it. The problem is we expect them to get to the root cause, but that is not what they are trained in. Does that make sense? We have a misunderstanding about the medical community. I'm going to get to my point, I promise you. And I'm not putting any of these down, by the way. I've used all of them and I support them. The spiritual life is left up to the gurus and the priests and the pastors and religion, and they're the authority of the spiritual body. The church says, right? We've got this big thing like what I'm teaching you today, I think is about really understanding all aspects of ourselves as a whole being. Some people call this New Age, and then they got a problem with it because their religion says that they should not like talk about energy. I'm like, we are energy beings. Like that is not something woo. I'm super grounded in the material world, in my body. Everybody understand this so far? Just give me a yes. I'm going to move to the last one. Is it making sense? Can you see that we've been divided into sections instead of having, that's what I love about integrative and holistic is we take the 360. We look at all of it. I want you to learn how to do that in your coaching. The last thing is who takes care of the emotional body? Because listen, 24 years of medication, 8 different kinds of medication, and 15 surgeries. And my problem was emotional. My problem was unresolved trauma. I lost my body parts. I went under anesthesia that many times. Like I did not have the understanding, and I was going to the wrong practitioners to solve a problem that they weren't trained in solving. And I have been a journaler. I've been journaling since I was teenage, like before high school. Like I just remember I was always at the library. I would walk by myself. I would do these book studies by myself every summer. And I looked back at my journals when I had surgeries, when it was my tonsils, when it was my appendix, when it was my gallbladder, when it I really understood the emotional reason behind it. But I was going to the doctor to diagnose and treat, and the doctor wasn't addressing the emotional body. Matter of fact, I was on antidepressants. I was on Klonopin, Xanax, so many types of antidepressant, pain meds, Adderall, something like, I don't want to make this about me. I just want to tell y'all that my doctor loved me and respected me and was trying to help me, but really didn't have the understanding of the emotional body. Matter of fact, my first cousin, very close friend, committed suicide, and it was his wife. And he asked me at her funeral, how did you get out of this when I couldn't help her get out of this? And I said, those pills disconnected me from my emotional body, and I was numb and checked out, and I couldn't find my own guidance. And I felt like I was being told, like, your emotions, like, are the problem, so we're going to shut them down. And he said, that's exactly what we did. And I was like, and then I felt disconnected. Does that make sense to everyone? Disconnected. They weren't working together. And then to top it off, I had a full-on hysterectomy at 29 years old. And so that disconnection from the hormones just like banged it in deeper. So it was a very long, painful 24 years of being able to like really understand and learn this. And I promised if ever I would figure it out, I would never stop teaching it. Tell me if anyone here like believes that there's some issues with not understanding our emotional body. I don't think it's anyone's fault. I just don't think we were taught this. Did I go too far? Did I lose everyone? 100%. Thank you. The sections can see their limitations, like mental health, trying to tell people to go for a walk. Yes. Do you mean the nervous system response? Part of it, Marika. I'm gonna get into it. So here's to answer your question, by the way. My coaching focuses on emotional hygiene. Love that. So there are layers of the emotional body. There's layers to the mental body, to the think, the feel, and the doing. It's multiple layers. And when we just used mindset, we're only taking the top of the layer. We don't fully understand the whole picture. So what I teach my coaches is how to get this 360 view so they can ask the right questions to get the client to go deeper and say what they're not saying. So thinking, like I said, I used to get coaching and they were like, it's just your thought. Like, that's what your thought is. I was like, I know it's my thoughts. Like, I realized that. But there were layers. So we have conscious and subconscious, right? We have what we repressed and what we suppress, and then what we express. So you can write those three things down. That's the layers of thinking. We express it, we suppress it, we hold it down, or we repress it. And then it also leads into oppression. And that's living in a household or environment where you can't express, and that is being under oppression. Does that make sense to everyone? And then the feel is multiple layers also. There's sensation, there's feelings, there's the nervous system response. There's that again, it's like this is a visceral experience. And then the do, like, let's just use this for an example. I think and feel, so I'm going to do, right? And so we don't get the results. So what does that tell us? Are we doing habitually? Are we doing consciously? Are we doing intentionally? Or we're just doing what someone else says and does? So this is the 360 right here. I've put together a process that helps my coaches be able to see from all angles, to ask inquiry questions that gets the client to go deeper instead of chasing their thoughts and always like trying to grab one thought from another thought and then getting confused. And just so you know, you just have to grow a muscle to this. Once you fully understand this by experiencing it yourself, and that's the key. Listen to what I said, by experiencing it yourself, you can't unsee it. What I was saying earlier about the coach is we're like, oh, I'm a coach now. And then you don't want to get coaching in front of other people. And then you don't have the experience for yourself. I've gotten so much coaching. I've gotten really have done so much work around emotional processing and understanding. And I've like broken through the layers of the emotional process so that I can understand it and teach it. And now I just see it so clearly, so I can see what the client's doing by the way their body moves, by the things that they're saying, by the way that they're acting, by what their results are. And so I've just learned these ways to really unroot. It's really about uprooting. So these old beliefs have roots, and those roots have results. And so I teach my coaches how to recognize those. So when your perception changes, your coaching changes. But listen, it is personal. Let me know if this makes sense. Everyone who's listening before I move on. Do you have a new awareness, or did you already know this before I move? By the way, I have the tendency to go too deep, too fast. And so I'm really focusing on taking this slow and making sure that everybody's on board before moving forward, especially if it's the first time you hear it. Everybody else is good? Make sure. the layers to F's and A's is a new concept. Yeah. I take like the way I maneuver it in between there. So fascinating. And it's fun. Like it's fun. Your mind is always putting puzzles together. It wants to understand. And so you can make your coaching really fun. So it becomes, because after a while you hear the same stories over and over and over. I just never hear new stories. And so it's a way that I can stay engaged. Does that make sense? All right, I'm gonna go to the next one. So when these four are optimized, then there's optimal health and vitality. So when we're mentally clear, engaged, right? When we have control, emotionally on all layers, spiritually connected, whatever, this has nothing to do with religion. This has to do with you being a spiritual being, however you call that. And then the physical body, how you move through the world in the physical body. Because here's the thing. If you're mentally, emotionally, and spiritually disconnected, it shows up as illness and disease in the body. And this is what a lot of your clients are struggling with. It shows up as chronic pain, knee, hip, foot, overweight, struggling with keeping habits. It shows up in the physical world. I like to say, what you're mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, like your well-being in those three areas, show up in your bedroom. So that's your relationships and intimacy. Shows up in your bank account. That's your ability to make money, earn money, save money, like to be responsible for money. And shows up in your body. Where are my massage therapists? That's why I love bringing body workers into this, because they can see it physically in the body, and then they can address it from all of these different areas in order for their clients to eventually just be coming to get a massage because they like getting massage. Give me some amen on that one. Where's my massage therapist? So when these are regulated and you are whole, financial, relationships, intellectual, that's your ability to communicate and continue to grow in the world and evolve, and your contribution to the world. The way that, like, it doesn't even have to be like your business as in making money. It's like maybe you contribute as a mom or as a wife or as a husband. Maybe you contribute as a teacher. Got it? Does that make sense to everyone? And that's what we're going for. We want optimal health and vitality, or I want optimal health and vitality in my clients. What about you and your clients? By the way, for new coaches, this is intellectual property. These are things that you're going to come up with after you see them time and time and time again. And then you'll find a simple way to explain it so that more people can receive it. Goal, optimal health. I'm with you, sister. Optimal health. I want to live and die well. That is my goal. So now we know better. When we have mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual balance, that equals improved health and wellness in all areas of our life. Now, I tried to turn this in as an integrative coach, and I was told that's terrible. You'll never be able to market it. It doesn't make sense. But I am banking on the idea that more people will come to the understanding, and they will realize the reason that they have illness and disease and they're not getting the results that they want is because one of these areas, or maybe more than one, are out of whack. And through the integrative mind-body coaching, we can bring them into alignment, or into better alignment, so that we can get better results. This makes so much sense. So I'm going to put, I don't know if I could put it in the chat. I have a YouTube channel. It's just under my name. And there's a video there that's called The Cycle of Transformation. And then we have a lot of videos on this, and my entire podcast is there. If you go to the beginning, let me see. I think I'm going to put it right here. If you go to the beginning of the podcast, I talk about all of these concepts. I'm just going to put the YouTube channel because that's easier than putting the podcast. Can you still see my screen? So physically, how it shows up in the body. Mentally, the way that you think and manage. Spiritually, your connection to other human species, the world, source, however you want to do that. I do not intrude on people's beliefs. Occupationally is how you show up and serve in the world, whether that's for money or not is completely up to you. Socially is your ability to relate intellectually, it's your social, by the way, is plant, animal, people. Like, how do you engage? What is your environment like? What's your understanding of the connection? And then intellectually is, we ain't done yet. I used to have a shirt when I was in 7th grade. It says, God ain't finished with me yet. It's something like that. It was my little teenage shirt. Financial is your ability to earn for your needs and desires, and your ability to feel secure. And emotionally, my God, how many of you are familiar with human design and you are emotional authority? Because I'm emotional authority. And that was so hard for me to really understand. Now that I got it, but it still takes me on some little waves every once in a while. All right, everybody got it? I can move to the next one. Is this making sense? Am I going too long? Am I confusing you? Tell me in the chat. What if I can show you how to go beyond thoughts and uproot the real issue so your clients can heal and transform on all levels? Would you be interested in learning more? What if I can show you how to do this? And you don't have to take them to nirvana, or you don't have to take them down the cellar into another world, into hypnosis. It's going to look just like this, where you're in this type of call where you're talking to them, you're looking at them, and it's very normalized and neutralized. It is a human conversation. You don't have to do any tricks and go into like these subconscious channels. It's just really an everyday talking, speaking, and relating. Some of you have gotten, Allison, you've gotten coaching with me. Was it transformational? And I did not take you into, and I'm saying this because I work with so many healers and spiritual people that they like have to do these private ceremonies and processes. And I'm not against that at all. I just want to help coaches not have to do that, but get the same effects. Are you in for that? Because I've really learned how to master this. And also how to use the model while filling the gaps. So you get to keep the model that you've been trained in, you continue to use it, but we fill in the gaps so that you can use it more effectively and more powerfully. Here's the thing, guys. You have to grow the coach to grow the business. That means you need to experience this on a personal level. Does anyone disagree? Because once you got it, you are being it. Then you won't feel like an imposter. And you're going to know how to manipulate and maneuver and flip the model because you'll have embodied it for yourself on all levels. So you're not going to be like looking at your notes and like, what do I do next? And what am I supposed to say here? And what, you're not going to be a robot to it. You're not going to be Brooke's clone. You're going to actually get it from your own experience and relate it in a way that your clients who are coming to you and attracted to you can understand it. I'm going to pause for a minute and I want to see if anyone has questions. The model robot. I really did want to call my podcast More Than the Model, but Pavel was like, that's not going to make sense to people who don't know what the model is. So that's why we chose More Than Mindset. Yeah, there's like model wounding and whipping and chasing. And at the same time, I respect and love the model. I just think that there's more. There's more to really understand. It's not the only tool. Okay, so I'm going to I've been doing, let me just tell you a little bit about what I do. I've been doing coach training, but I am still a private coach. I never stopped taking one-on-one clients because I love the healing work. So I've always kept 4 one-on-one clients. I have 3 groups. One is a membership, one is coach training, and one is grow your business and it's specifically for healing focused coaches. And I still coach. I'm curious for you guys because most people who are teaching this stuff in business, they only coach coaches. That is not the case. A lot of these people here can tell you they started off as private clients. And I think that makes a difference because you really want to know how to master the tools that you use. So this is what's missing. I created the no BS approach to creating conscious change. That's the book behind me. That's the process behind me. I wrote this in 2016. It was actually in one of these get it done months back in the day when we used to do the model-thons and when Self-Coach Scholars was completely different and it was just Brooke and we had workbooks. I wrote it. And then I remember taking a picture with her afterwards. We did a selfie at the model-thon. So what I've created is a very practical way to be able to integrate all of the modalities that I had learned as a massage therapist, really understanding craniosacral and energy, as a yoga teacher, as a meditation teacher. And I'm also trained in, transcendental meditation. My mind went blank for a minute. What I've learned as a hypnotherapist and a health coach, a life coach, and a business coach. I've brought all of those together. I had a fitness center and I really worked with women and all of the excuses that they come up with about going to the gym or not going to the gym. That's what got me interested in coaching to start off with. And I learned how to do it in a rural area. So if I open the door behind me, you will see a crawfish lake. And behind me is a hayfield. And then you can't even see any houses. And I figured out how to create a sustainable, predictable, profitable business. That's my brilliance or my genius that came from coaching and really understanding the model, as well as these other modalities. But here's the problem. And let me see if any of you relate to this. People in the South, in the Bible Belt, I'm in Louisiana, were scared. They don't want to talk about hypnotherapy or hypnosis. They don't want to talk about energy or essential oils. And they think yoga is of the devil out here. The churches are preaching against it. They don't even want them to have a life coach because, Mallory, what did your priest say? Mindfulness and it's selfish or something like that. Let's see if she's here. Brittany Presno, you're from around here too. And so I had a problem to solve. How am I going to talk about these empowering tools if people are afraid? How am I going to handle this? And so I had to come up with a way to do it very practically. And it had to be able to apply to all situations. And so this took me quite a few years to come up with. And now that I have, it has been so powerful. So that's part of what I do. I have a 10-week intensive that I work with just coaches. Anybody else have questions about what I do? I'm going to take you through the process. We are at 50 minutes. So I want to make sure I am honoring your time, not mine specifically, but recently hearing of friends who want help for physical issues, but they say mindset and manifestation is anti-Jesus. Yeah. So those are the things that we're up against. I don't know if you guys deal with that or not. So this is the process. And the two things that are underlined are what's missing from the model. So presence is the first step to awareness. So we get that awareness from the model, right? We get the awareness of what the thought is. What we don't get is how to unveil to understand the unconscious or subconscious beliefs, how to bring those on board. And we don't get how do we navigate the new habits to change the neural pathways? So these are the two things that are in the middle of the process. And the bottom that's just basic stuff. I just want to kind of go through this because I don't want to run out of time and I want to make sure that you can ask me questions. And this is the result that I'm going after. So it's really how to live your life's legacy, to be in authority of your own life on all levels in your natural essence and living ease, flow, and freedom from an individual perspective. What I'm offering you today, as I said at the beginning, I'm going to make you an offer, is to come into my coaching membership because I believe that's the place that can best serve you, to watch me coach, to get coaching, and to see other people getting coached beyond the model. So it's anybody here in Self-Healing Masters that can kind of say what's the experience been for you. So what I'm going to offer you is if you come into Self-Healing Masters, I will do a small group sessions with you on how to manipulate the model, how to go beyond mindset, how to break into the subconscious layers, and you get an entire year in Self-Healing Masters for $14.97. That is my offer for you today. I'm thinking, what are we right now? What month are we in? I never know. August. We're in August. I'm in the middle of a coach training right now. And I'm going to be starting another one, but that's not something I wanted to offer. What I'm seeing in this community, you guys need coaching. You need to understand how to expand your coaching and watch someone who's doing it, watching a master. Some of the coaches that I trained are also mentors in this group. So if you just pick up your phone, if you want to do this today, I will get on a call with you guys and we are going to go through my process, the way that I use coaching beyond the model. And I'm going to do it just you. No one else in the community is going to be able to come here. This is just for new members who are coaches. Does that sound fair? So glad I started getting coaching because I have been able to understand where clients are coming from. I started there at the beginning. You have to be able to see what's coming up. And then you got to put yourself in the position as the coach as well as the client. Typically, I've been doing a $3,500 tin. A lot of these coaches have dumped so much money. What can I do so that you get the entire year of support? But I also pull you from that group and I teach you how to become a better coach, how to master. Oops. I think that's the same thing right there. Obviously I used a different, my designer is out of town. So I kind of made this thing up by myself. What is the membership? Let me come on with you so that I can answer. What is your program cost? This is actually not a program. This is something that I just came up with after I did about 10 practice sessions on understanding the model, mastering the model, going into the subconscious. And what I got from those clients, which some of you are here, is you guys really need to understand this from a personal perspective. So I was telling my assistant, I was like, what can we offer these new coaches that's going to put them in the coaching seat? And that's also I can give you some personal attention and help you maneuver through some of the challenges that you have with the model. I thought $1,497 was like a steal. So instead of me just doing 6 to 12 weeks with you for $1,500 to $3,500, I'd rather see the longevity. I'd rather see you come into the group. Who asked the question? Let me see. Raise your hand if you want to come on and ask any questions. I am all yours. I do not have a call at 3:00. I can end this recording and I can answer any of you. That is the best thing that I thought of doing that would give you both of what you needed, which is your own personal support, getting coaching that goes beyond mindset, and then also getting me in a small group where we can break down some of these challenges. Allison, do you want to come on and share your experience on what the membership is? It is, you get modules with mindset, with emotional processing. I created an emotional processing technique. It's a specific technique on how to be with your clients, how to help them feel, and understanding all of these layers. I coach there on Wednesdays, and then I have 2 other coaches who are mentors. One's on Monday night. We have a wellness practitioner, holistic wellness practitioner that practices Ayurveda, which that is like a whole different thing. You guys may not even know what that is. Allison, do you want to share in your own, is it 6 sessions in a small group plus the 1 year? Yes, you get all of it. You get the entire year with at least 2 coach calls. If you also are going to get like what we're doing with prioritizing, creating healthy habits. You get all 4 modules, which is on money, mindset, emotional processing, and well, we do a lot of other things in there. I wanted to come from someone who's actually in it. It's so robust and personalized. And the difference between what I'm doing and self-coach scholars is, number one, the price. And you get 40% off of private coaching. So you can get 1 coach session for $119 and you get to pick your mentoring coach. So I've just done it a little more budget friendly because I live in Louisiana. Average household income is $24,000. And I wanted to meet those people. So Allison, what would you say? How would you describe it? When will the small group session start? I am ready to start them next week or the week after. So what I would do is whoever signs up, I will get on a call with you and then we're going to start dialing in dates. So I have 3 options for dates. I want to make sure it works for you, but sooner than later. I've been doing them for the last 6 weeks. And so I was like, what can I do with this, like to help these people? Would you like to share your experience in the membership?
Yeah. So for me, it's the gift I didn't know I needed. Can you hear me?
You.
Hold on.
You hear her. Oh, let me check my volume. Okay, good.
What is self-healing?
And I think I even mentioned the self-telling model, which hold on. That I created. Why is that happening
now? I think someone else could hear me. Yeah. Is your
hold on, there's something on somewhere else. Maybe it's YouTube. It's going to be my guess. Yep. All right, okay. Go ahead. Mm-hmm.
All right.
Does anyone else have questions? By the way, you go ahead and raise your hand. Allison, you've been here. You're fairly new. What's been your experience?
Yeah. So the way I think about it, it's the gift I didn't know I needed. Right? It's been refreshing because the way you can kind of get into my brain and help pick things up that is more deeper, a little bit more on the emotional side, stuff that's been buried that I didn't even know was affecting my life and my decision making and my business and so many things. So the best way I describe it is like the gift I didn't know I needed, like a wonderful surprise that's been so beneficial in so many ways than some of the other programs I'm in. I'm in a lot of different programs, and this just feels safe and nurturing and empowering at the same time. So what would you say is the difference between like mindset coaching and like using the model and what we do? Because all the mindset in the world, like I've done so much mindset, there was still stuff like buried in there that I didn't know was kind of, I don't want to say keeping me stuck, but I can do all the thought work, but it's still like I'm lying to myself, kind of, you know, all the thought work, I can convince myself with all the thoughts, but there was still so much buried that almost the sake of, I don't want to sound cheesy, but the word vulnerable, like it's just safer, like to, you know, pull this stuff up and then like kind of like fill the holes. Do you feel that it's like it's comfortable? Do you ever feel attacked or as if like somebody's coming at you, like with mindset? No, it's very comfortable. Even like you push in a healthy way. Like I don't mind you like digging in a little bit, and I think it's very comfortable because it's stuff that it's almost like a weed in the ground that needs a little extra help getting pulled out. So no, I feel like it's very safe and very comfortable, but still like challenging. Yeah, I'm definitely not like, if I can help you at all, now I'll ask you permission, right? Yes. Like, I'm like, can we go there? Are you okay with that? Because I really honor the nervous system. I think that's something that's not taken into account whenever it's unresolved trauma, and a lot of mind setting it's like the parent or the teacher was like coming at me again. And then I would just go into like this freeze mode. And then what happens at that point is the subconscious mind takes over. And that's where we start acting like a toddler, because it's habit. It's the habit mind. And so it just starts giving you like the little kid excuses. And you don't even recognize it because it's so familiar. Do you notice that? Yeah, you've been able to call out my body language and I didn't even realize it. You know, in the beginning of us talking versus when we're finished, and I'm not aware of it until you bring it to my attention. And you feel like you just settle in and everything kind of relaxes. Mm-hmm. All right. Thank you. All right, you're welcome. Appreciate you coming on. Does anybody else have, Allison just joined, so that's why I brought her on. Anybody else have any particular questions? Is there a payment plan? We can do that for sure. Mallory can get that set up. Right, Mallory? I'm waiting for her to answer, but I'm sure we can. Yeah, of course. Yeah, we can do payment plan. You can do if you want to just pay $99 a month, you can put the $97 down and then just move it to $99 a month, or we can split it up in payments if you need to do. However, we do it through Stripe. This is not an actual product, by the way, it's something that I just came up with because I kept seeing the same problem. And I was like, how do we help these people? And Allison's been a big inspiration for me because she's like letting me know as a new coach, the issues she's coming up with, like not having her net built, not feeling confident as a coach, not being able to move herself out of like the frozen mode. And so I've taken what a lot of these practice clients or telling me, and we came up with a solution. So when I started doing the actual, so the membership is training modules and 2 coach calls a week. Okay. The membership, you will not go into that membership until you're done with me. So I'm going to take whoever joins and we're going to go on this journey.
about coaching, becoming a better coach. We're going to do some practice coaching, and then you're going to get the membership in order for you to continue. Guys, the 6 weeks, like what I'm doing for the 6 weeks, I actually was going to offer just that, and it was $1,500. And then I decided I'm just going to put the membership because I want to see you showing up week after week, getting coaching and watching coaching. And the thing that you're going to get from it is your body is going to start understanding where I'm going, and you're going to be able to pull those tools up to be able to help your clients go beyond just mindset. Did that answer your question, Marika? So there are membership portals. I mean, there are modules, and it's all about coaching and different ways to coach. It's like done in very simple form. We have a meditation library. We have 2 calls a week. We did like a bonus call Sunday, which I think was yesterday. We're always doing something. Last Sunday, we had a breathwork session in there. So we're always bringing in healing modalities because it is really about mastering your healing process. And then you as a coach or practitioner, how you can help your clients heal, not just change their thoughts, but heal their body, their relationships, heal their relationship with the world, with their spirituality, with some of this wounding that is like locked and stored in the body. Is that helpful? Robin, what would you say is your biggest takeaway? Does everyone have healing? I think so. Like it might not be the healing the way that some people are perceiving it. But honestly, feelings buried alive never die. And everything that we have created is coming from our past experience. And most of it is lodged in our body. And the model does not consider the body, and it doesn't consider the soul. It is just about the mind. And I'm like, it's more than mindset. I walked around with affirmations, writing shit on my mirror, saying things out loud, and I couldn't understand. The problem was the subconscious root that came from my childhood. And so I could put all the poop I wanted on top, but it wasn't going to get rid of the stink at the bottom. And that's what your clients are doing. They don't want to be called out. They don't feel safe because you haven't held that space for them to be able to go in here and explore the way Allison is saying. She's like, I can go anywheres with you. And you just play the edge and bring me back. And then she can see it for herself. I don't tell them what to do. I don't have an agenda. I don't have I'm not like giving them advice. I'm helping them see it for themselves. So whenever they walk away, they can be an empowering coach. They can be a role model. They can experience the change and transformation for themselves, and then they can be an example of it to others. Does that answer? Is it 6? Oh, I think I answered that. 6 small sessions plus. Yeah. So we will do the actual deep dive. It's going to be a small group, guys. I did not do a big promotion on this. I literally just put it in 2 groups and sent it to my email list, which is not a big email list. And I'm looking at like, where are 10 people who want to take a deep dive into mind, body, and advanced coach modalities? That's it. That was my question. And I was like, what can I create? I'll do this call a couple of times. If we get 10 today, I'll close the door. That's how I function and work. I do everything very organically. Now we are about to hit the social market, but I haven't yet. Right now, I prefer doing it on smaller, deeper dives. Some of the girls here, like Joy is in teacher training, Brittany is in teacher training. I do believe I do it different from anywhere else. And Joy has multiple certifications. She does a hypnosis. She does energy work. She's a massage therapist. She had a coaching. And Joy, would you say that what we do here is a little bit different? Thank you. I'm in. Look forward to exploring these fascinating. They are fascinating. Like I could just talk about this all day. And when I first started that practice training in the coaching group, I was very transparent. I said, I'm opening up something different for new coaches. And I'm going to use these calls as a practice to determine what I need to create. And this is what I'm creating. So I don't know where it's going to go from here. We might do this every few weeks. I might never do it again. I don't know. I was just like thinking of a no-brainer. What is a no-brainer? To be able to get that personal one-on-one time with me, and then to be able to get the entire year of the membership so you can see how to run a membership, how to coach, how to build out your modules and portals. If you are a healing focused entrepreneur, you need to see what we're doing in there. Make sense? All right. If we don't have any more questions, so awesome. I got to jump off. This has definitely answered a lot of questions I've been having. Perfect. Send an email to kim@kimgilreed.com if you have questions, or if you need to hop on a call with me or my team, then we can do it. If you're emotional authority, you probably have to sit and think about this, and that is fine. I'm leaving to go out of town tomorrow, so I wanted to get this in as quickly as possible. I'll do another call for those who missed it and have questions, but I'm ready to start. So this is what I'll tell you. The sooner you start, the sooner your sessions start. We're just going to get them in, crank it up, and get moving. All right, that's it. You will be seeing more of me. Thank you all for joining and for engaging. I really appreciate that.